You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Back of the net.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Right, Chris.
Yeah, I guess I'm all right. I mean, we've certainly had worse weeks as a football club, haven't we? You know, we beat Man United 4-2 on Saturday. Ended their unbeaten run of 29 away games. Then we went away to Moscow in the snow, and we beat them 4-3. So yeah, I guess we have kind of, you know, had worse weeks. But shall I start or shall you go in? Are you going to come in with me if I do it? Come on, Esther! Yes! Get in there! Come on, you foxes! What a comeback! What a comeback! We've kicked ourselves started in the Premier League. We've done the same in the Europa League. Yes! Yes! Come on! This is Leicester Till I Die.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Oh, yes. Good evening. How the devil are you? Just a little thing there for any Only Fools and Horses fans that are in. I think I hurt my voice doing that. But my God, I'm surprised I've got a voice left. What, 2-0, I thought, well, come on, you know, Leicester are doing their own Brexit here and getting out of Europe as quick as we can. But this is Leicester. This is Leicester. We came back. I mean, talk about a game of two halves. Talk about it being a game of two halves. I'll tell you, you know, what a comeback in that second half. Yes, we let the third goal in. You know, we made the subs. We brought Vestergaard on, so we always knew they were probably going to get another goal. But 2-0 down, we come back 4-2. We're back in it. We're back in it. So do we want Warsaw to beat Napoli or Napoli to... We'll be asking Brad later. Talking of Brad... He is the church warden, lady church warden's top totty. Let's bring him in. Brad, my voice is hurting. How the devil are you, sir?
Well, I'm feeling a lot better thanks to one man in particular. You know, Mr. Fahey's 4, he's a jolly good fella, and Patson Daka. I'm feeling a lot better than I was feeling earlier, mate. After that first half.
Yeah, what a game. Andy Schreiber. Hello, Andy. How the devil are you? This is working in Facebook. I can see because you're on Facebook there. Apologies to anybody who's been putting posts up. Brad's been helping me out all day. There's been some problems with admins and groups. I can get on and do anything on Facebook except go onto the main page in the Facebook group. So let's make it 3 out of 3 when we play Brentford. It's going to be a tough game. Hello, Maisie. How the devil are you? Did you watch that? Did you sort of watch how a good team plays? I know it's been a while, because when I saw the news earlier that the manager had been sacked, I thought it might have been Ollie. Daka, well, 4 goals, definitely has potential to be quality. And Leicester to sell him for 90 million. Or, well, that's if it's Man United, we'll get probably more than that. You know how they like to spend the money. And you got a fan, Brad.
Hey, that's nice. It's nice
Yes.
to know. Thanks,
Well,
Maisie. I'm always here. It's just Chris that he gets jealous of me being on and taking the limelight. So I'm not always on these shows. No, I'm kidding. There's lots of great other presenters that come on. That's why.
I have, in fact, well, this is an extra show, in fact, for Brad, and I thank him very much for coming on and helping me out here. I do bring Brad on because he is a distraction for the women. You know, it takes most of them away from me, and I can survive with the odd one or two. You know, Facebook user here says 3 sloppy goals. That's Daka price. As that great philosopher, Fred Flintstone once said, "Yakka Daka do." I mean, what? He's Edward. Who wants Edward? I mean, what a performance! I mean, you could not see him missing. I mean, I was like, pick me mouth up off the floor.
Oh, mate. You know what? It was surreal watching his goals. I mean, I felt like I was watching a cartoon at some point. It felt like the Road Runner. It was like, give me the ball.
By the way.
Yeah, yeah, but it was like he got the ball, and even when one of his goals, he went offside, and he was a bit. You could see he was frustrated to get the pass. But he came back and he got the ball, and normally because you've stopped your running momentum, you know, you give the defender a chance to capture and maybe put it out for a throw-in or a corner, and he just went goal. Thanks very much. And I tell you what, Daka, there's only one thing I will say to you. Please stop doing them flips. We've got enough injuries as it is. Please stop doing them backflips and front flips. I know how good you are, please. Because
I know your heart does go in your mouth, doesn't it? You know. And I've got one more impression to do because you know I'm good like with my impressions and what have you, and that is Ant McPartland. And I don't mean I'm going to get drunk and go out and smash my car. No, my impression of him going, you weren't expecting that, were you? No, you weren't, were you? No, Susan Boyle. I think if you'd had Susan Boyle in the goal, I don't think Daka would have missed them 4. I mean, what? The first half, there were sloppy goals, I guess. But at 2-0, I thought that was it. I thought this is, Europe, let's forget it. We might just sneak into the conference if we're lucky, coming in third. We got the goal back just before half time, which made a huge difference. But then second half, what did Brendan put in the tea?
Oh, to be honest with you, Chris, I don't think Brendan actually had to do much. I was scratching my head at 1-0, let alone 2-0, because realistically, considering they were at home and they've just come off a big Derby Day draw, I believe. They came back from 2-0 down in 5 minutes. Yeah. So they were high on confidence. They were buzzing. They were doing well. They were below par. They were so easily ripped apart for all 4 goals that every goal you would have thought you were playing against a computer on easy mode. The way the ball just went ding, 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 in the net. It just seemed to happen. So, and obviously because it happened within the space of 9 minutes collectively, and it happened so fast, it probably does feel like that. But they were not deserving of their lead, not a sniff. No, I said to you, didn't I, before the game, I don't even know how they got 1 goal, let alone 3. But that's probably down to the frailties of Leicester, which we'll get onto later.
I did for a moment think that they'd got Jose in as manager because, every time we did go forward, though, they had virtually every player behind the ball.
They did.
And at 2-0, I must admit, at 2-0, when Daka got 1 back, I didn't even celebrate. I was just kind of, okay. This is Leicester. We'll concede just after half time. We normally do in these games. And then the second half, I was just screaming and banging on the window. And it was just, again, Maddison, what a great game he had.
He did have a good game. I mean, there's not many out there you could say had a bad game, really. Yes, there was errors that led to goals. We'll get on to one of them in particular in a minute. But you know, there's one criticism of Maddison in that game I've got, and that was, and I can kind of understand why, because he's probably feeling that he needs to contribute more in the goals. But stop trying to side foot it into the top corner and just put your laces through it sometimes. Because some of his shots, if you're going for accuracy and finesse, as it's called, and that's the best you're coming up with, please stop, Maddison. Stop trying to win the game on your own, please. That's the only blotch on his game, because he was brilliant. But I'm fair to the end. I will pick at negative parts as well as the good things. I'm not going to sit here and say the sun shines out his arse after 2 games. He needs to stop either shooting or put his foot through it, because this place in it top corner, there's only one man in that midfield that can do that, and his name's Yuri Tillemans. We saw that at the weekend.
Well, what we'll do is later on we will go through the players. We're not going to do the ratings or anything, but we'll just talk about each player individually. But I just want to say with Maddison, there was a decision he made, and he'd got, I think, Inacho on his right and Daka on his left. Inacho was slightly offside, and I just think if you go back 3 or 4 weeks, the decision would have been made. He'd have passed it to Daka, and Daka would have been offside. And yet, and I'm like, no, and he passed it to the left, and they said, that was the right decision, etc. But I think not so long ago, he probably wouldn't have made the right pass there.
No, he probably wouldn't have. And sometimes when you're in confidence, you don't want to take that pass, because in that split second, you go, the easier passes to Nacho. If I mess up the pass to Daka, they're going to come at us, so I'll play it to Nacho. And you don't even comprehend him stood offside, which was a bit silly at times from Nacho. And sometimes it was a delay of the ball that never arrived to him, that he ran offside. But Nacho was very clever, actually. People might say sometimes he ran offside, but actually what he was doing is, because Daka was clearly dragging over on that left-hand side, he was then forcing Spartak Moscow. Fans might be yelling and screaming, saying, why was Daka, after his first goal, allowed 3 more opportunities to rip us up down one side? Well, that's actually, you've got to give credit to Nacho, because yes, he was offside, and it's a good job the ball wasn't played to him, and it was a good spot by Maddison. But what Nacho did is he dragged their defence with him, because if they don't go with him and he stays on side and he gets the ball, he's through anyway. Yes. So, and maybe a better side and a more experienced side in greatest respects to Spartak, who, as you informed me, were in the Champions League knockout, but then they got knocked out and put in this competition.
That surprised me, because I think when the draw was, I thought Moscow were drawn out 4th.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch the draw.
Maybe they were drawn out 3rd. I don't know. Somebody will tell us, I'm sure. But if they were drawn out 4th, I'm surprised. But yes, they did say on BT that before the game that they were knocked out by Benfica in the qualifying for the Champions League, so they hadn't automatically qualified. It was a Celtic type moment. Scott said he's bigging up Inacho there, and I've made a note here. We're going to talk about that, because I thought he had a good game as well. But let's have a look, Brad, at the team. I mean, what did you think when the team was announced? And I looked at that and I thought, okay, Castagna had pulled a muscle, I believe, and was slightly not 100%. Perez ruled himself out, and I'm sure you had tears about that. And we did say about Vardy having a rest and him bringing on, if brought on if needed. I just don't think he was needed, because I think Inacho and Daka, they have got such a great understanding. But I was surprised to see Evans there. But I looked at that and I thought, that's a good team.
Yeah, I did. I mean, there was a lot. I think, Brendan didn't want to change too much, from what's been a bit of a disruptive stop-start season for Leicester in terms of their results. You want to keep the core of your team together, and you'd imagine that the majority of that team can play 3 games in the space of 8 days. Especially the young ones like Soyuncu, Maddison, Tillemans, Iniacho, and Daka can definitely manage, and even Samore can manage to do that. But and still be well within ready and for selection for Sunday. I thought it was very smart. I think in an ideal world, had Leicester got better results from Napoli and Warsaw, then we may have seen more changes. But given Leicester's bad start in the competition, the must not lose factor about this game, because obviously you can still come second and it's a qualifier, but you want to ideally win your group so you go straight to the 16.
Yeah.
And it was obviously more ideal to win it. So I was glad to see that there was only 2 changes. Obviously, one of them was forced late last night. I think in training, it's reported that he just tweaked it. So it doesn't seem like he's done any actual proper damage. He's just tweaked it. And I was happy with the people that came in to do the job. For obvious reasons, I'm very happy that Daka came on and did the job. But Luke Thomas, it was good to see getting his minutes, because in the Premiership,
you shouldn't be worried about Luke Thomas, because he's been here, seen it, got the T-shirt with the Europa League, hasn't he? So
yeah.
David, good evening to you. How the devil are you, sir? Welcome along. And David number 2, welcome along to you as well. 7:30 a.m. Sorry, I missed that. 7:30 a.m. there, David. Whereabouts are you? Just remind us. I'm guessing you're over on the other side of the big pond. If it was 7:30 in the morning, so just remind us where you are, and it's great to have you on board. I just want to bring this point. Ash Mandan. I don't know if I pronounced that, but I'm sorry. I'm terrible at pronunciation. Inacho is a goal machine, first on team sheet, supplied 2 of them today. He's a creator, so strong. He had a fantastic game in my eyes, and we'll come on to that later. Now, Dorco says here, good evening, Dorco, again, how the devil are you? So welcome along. Thanks for joining us. Nacho inevitably has to be third choice striker. You see, I don't necessarily think so, because I don't know whether Daka and Vardy can play together. We've not really seen it, have we? Let's be honest. But we know Vardy and Nacho can play together. We now know Daka and Nacho can play together. As long as one of them scored and the other one's assisting, I don't really mind which way, as we said with Vardy last season. So it's almost like Nacho's your first choice, but who do I play with him this time?
Look, it just shows what a comparison it's been in football. That to use a tired cliche, a week's a long time in football. And I wouldn't even say now, especially given the last couple of performances from the side, especially up in the forwards, I don't even think if you're on the bench for Sunday, you're going to feel like, this means I'm the reserve choice. I think Brendan probably now goes, oh God, who do I pick? Vardy scoring, Iniacho's playing well in scoring, Daka's just got 5 in 2. Oh, this is a good headache. And I think it's one of them where maybe the earlier predictions that we'd see a lot of rotation up front for a different reason than we thought, because we all thought maybe it would be Vardy who's sitting on the bench and coming on with 15-20 minutes to go to run at a tired defence. That's obviously might not be the case this season because of how well he started. But I think what you'll see is, like Brendan said, dependent on the opposition, depends on how they're going to go about things. And he might think that's how he's going to go forward.
And you're going to get knocks and possible suspensions as you go along. Again, forgive me with my pronunciation here. Like I say, but those that know me well know that I can. If it's not Smith or Jones, I struggle. I even want to make Bertrand French, don't I?
Yes.
Canon Mervision here in Zambia. Leicester jerseys are selling like hotcakes. Proud of our Patson Daka. It's PD29 from Zambia to Leicester. You should be proud of him today. First player since I think Nigel, mate, on Facebook, and he texted me and said, when was the last time a player scored 4 for Leicester? And I went, I don't know. Tell me, because he's one of these, he knows his facts and his stats. I went, I don't know. And he got a copy of Fossil and Foxes out, and it's actually 1929. It was six goals somebody scored for us.
Yeah, it was 6. No, there was somebody who scored in a 6-3 win against Villa. I know his last name begins with a H, but I can't remember it. They did bring it up on Leicester City's radio.
Oh, did they? Oh, right.
Yeah. Right. It might be that he did score 6 in that game, but I think it was Arthur Chandler did something like that, or Rowley did something like that in a game, because you had the geese or swans or whatever that flew over, and it was an iconic.
Oh yes,
I know they said that somebody scored at least 4 in a 6-3 win over Villa.
Oh, right.
It might have been him. He might have been.
Hart says, I think Daka is ready to play full time in the Premier League. He's ready, but will he get in? Because you're talking, as good as Daka is, and it's a great problem to have. We've still got Vardy, and last season, I was saying maybe Vardy doesn't start now. He's top of the goal scoring charts, so you're not going to drop. Daka's our top European goal scorer, equal with Barnes and Vardy now, as it happens, with 4 goals, bless him. But you can't just go out, I'm sorry, and drop Vardy now, because he's not done anything wrong. David, US West Coast is where you are. North South East. Heck, yeah, that is way over the other side, isn't it? Literally. Yeah. Scott saying there, I just wanted to say how much of a tank Sumari is. I've just got your private message, mate. I will talk to you in a second. I won't. I'll let you guess where Brad's gone. All I'm going to say was, if we're still playing, Leicester will score. That's where he's gone. Yep, Sumari, great. Last 2 games he's been great. Ash Mandan agrees with us there. Rich, how do, mate? Good luck, and to Daisy as well. Good luck to you both for tonight. As I say, I know we don't like United when we play in the Premier League, but I always want English teams to do well in Europe. So good luck against Atlanta this evening, sir. But it was a great result, and it was needed. And I think the thing that it's done, it's enforced what we achieved against you guys on Saturday. Because I think if we'd gone out and we were losing 2-0, let's be honest with you, at one point, it would have been that win. I say it wouldn't have waste, obviously, but it feels like we've kick-started our season now, if I'm honest with you. It feels like these performances are the Leicesters that we remember from last season. So yeah, it was a great result, Rich, but I say good luck against Atlanta tonight. Scott, 3 first-choice strikers. It's a great thing to have. As we said earlier to Brad, Edward, who big up here. How do, Rich? Thanks very much. Get over to Rich Sports and check his channel out. Terry, good evening, sir. Good evening to you and the missus and the dog. That's 3 people, just before anybody wonders if I'm calling Terry's missus a dog. Only saw the last of the match. Seems I missed a good game. Terry, you so did. My son, he couldn't get to work. He says, bloody hell, if I'd have been there, it'd have been 0-0. I said, well, you stay at work for all the games then. B. Crom, hello, welcome back again. We have 3 of the best strikers in the world as a group total. Well, you've got a fair point there. Scott, Guy, oh yeah, he's please smash the likes button. Yeah, thanks very much to Scott. It was Hines. Okay, I mean, Terry, thanks very much for that. And I suppose, when you've got hindsight, it's easy to know these things, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive that a tin of beans managed to score 4 as well.
Yes.
There you go. I'll join in on the joke with my own one, mate.
Neither of those were particularly good, wasn't it? Scott, Daka for me will get his games in the Europa League and Cups. Vardy and Nacho for the Premier League. Depends, like I say, it's a long league, and Vardy's 34, but it may, we've got the 3 strikers, and we've got that option now. Totally agree with Samare. He was immense, to be honest. You almost didn't miss Ndidi the way he's played, and he moved the ball forward.
Yeah, that's going to be a headache for him, isn't it?
Yeah, as Mandan, what's nice to see is that they were starting to play as a team. It's not a slight what player gets picked for a match. Once Barnes is flying again, going to be formidable. I mean, when you come to think, who wasn't in the team? Barnes, Justin,
Yeah.
Fafana. I mean,
Luton.
Lookman, yeah, that is a scary thought that those players didn't even. I mean, let me just take you back to this, Brad. That's not a bad bench to have, is it? I mean, for those of you that are quite young and don't know, I should point out Jupokovic is our third choice keeper. You may not have heard of him. You almost certainly will not have ever seen him. He's a bit like Santa Claus. He comes once a year. I only said that. I was a bit like me with my wife, but there we go. That said, I did fill a sack. Anyway, but look. So let's have a look. You've got Ward, who's a good goalkeeper. Bertrand Castagna. Chowdhury did okay when he came on. Dewsbury Hall or Brighton, Lookman, Barnes. What a bench!
Yeah, it's impressive, and it's nice to see from a Leicester perspective. I know there's a few names on there that have been here for a while anyway, the likes of Albrighton, Vardy, and Barnes, etc. But it's nice, probably one of the most satisfying things about Leicester's progression off the pitch in terms of squad depth is the fact that they're at a point now where they finally turned that corner where not just the pundits, but even Leicester fans were saying our problem is we've got a great 11 to 13 players, but after that we get a bit, I don't know about him coming on sort of things. And yeah, obviously there's a few names on there. Chowdhury, I thought had a brilliant game when he came on.
Didn't do anything wrong again, fair. And I'm not Chowdhury's biggest fan, but fair dues. I couldn't criticise him.
And I know we'll get onto some defensive frailties later. But what was good to see is, and I agree with the comment, whoever it was that said it. Sorry, I was on a BRB when I heard it, but I didn't see who put it. It felt like there was not just playing as a team, but there was a team understanding now. Like the new guys had settled in, they'd worn the shoes, they'd worn them in, it felt good. I don't really remember too many misplaced passes. I don't remember, players stop starting runs because they wasn't sure if to go forward or what they were doing. It clicked very well, and to score 8 goals in 2 games, it felt like Leicester again, didn't it? We've been a team of recent years that score goals. If we win, it's very rarely we win 1-0 unless we're going back to
that was the comment I think you're referring to from Ashinadan. Dorco says here, you haven't mentioned that. Would you prefer a 4-3 win or a 1-0 win?
I don't care. I don't care if it's 9-6. I don't care. If it's 3 points, it's 3 points. If it's a win, it's a win. Honestly, I get what he's saying, but I get what he's saying. The 4-3 is more exciting to watch than a 1-0, but both do the exact same.
And
because you could score a goal in 96 minutes.
Both give you bad hearts at the end of the game because you're holding on in both of them. I was very happy at 4-2, and then suddenly it went 4-3, and I was like, where's my dog? I need to go for a walk. We'll come back to the comments in a minute. But at 2-0 up, were you thinking the worst? Because I was.
No, actually, I really wasn't. Because I was scratching my head as to how we were 2-0 down. We were controlling the game. We had the tempo. We just hadn't quite figured out how to get into their back line. And in the end, Spartak Moscow played a big part in that with how they tried to up their tempo when Leicester were coming at them as soon as it was 2-2 sort of thing. As soon as they made that mistake and got back, they must have watched the Man United players kicking off after 2-2 because they conceded probably quicker than the Man U did. I mean, before I could go, fuck, how was that happened? It was,
Yeah.
and Daka's through and he scored, and it was like, all right, it doesn't really matter. And I kind of got I don't know, a goal makes it easy to say it at that point, because I've always said 2-1's the worst score line you can have until the end, because it's never safe, sort of thing. But then I kind of felt like that was a bit just, because I genuinely don't think they deserved anything. I think the right result, I think 4-3 was flattering. I really think it was flattering on them. And again, whereas they will probably played their part in making our goals, we played a making severely in their goals. So that's probably right. That's one thing that we need to make sure we're eradicating sooner rather than later. But the rest of it was very pleasing on the eye to watch.
Yeah, you say what wasn't clicking before the Man United game, and we were trying to play, was clicking now. And as I know you don't like the stats, but just looking at them, it does back up what you say. You know, we had more passes, we had more touches, we made nearly double the tackles. Forget the offsides, but and we had 20, almost double the shots on target that they had. With 20 and more possession. I mean, like you say, how did they get 3 goals? Well, I'll tell you how they got one of them. Our friend Turkish Delight, Mr. Soyuncu. But again, I was watching this, and you can say, I'll let you have your say on him in a minute, but just generally with that back four, and it's not their fault, because I know they're told to play like that, but they're pissing about at the back. And I've got to be honest with you, Schmeichel is kicking the ball to somebody who's got a red shirt behind him. And I'm like, just boot it upfield. And yes, I know you might lose it, but if you're going to lose it, let's lose it up there. Oh no, pass it to Soyuncu, who loses it, and they've got another goal.
Yeah, and I think you'd really think, because I really lost my rag watching that goal. I was like, who the hell do we think we are if we think we can just play a risky ball like that and then still piss around with it? Because you're right, Chris, in a way, even though I felt the way we were performing throughout that 45 minutes and the frailties of Moscow were there for the taking, you have to imagine that had Daka not got that goal, it could have been a different story. And it shouldn't have came in at, we've seen games where we come in at 1-0 down and we've completely dominated, and they've hit us for a sucker punch, and we've gone, God knows how we're 1-0 down. But we've sat here as well as fans going, but I still think we'll win this game. We'll come back. We keep playing like that. There's no way it stays 1-0. There's no way it stays 1-0. And more times than not, especially last season and the season before, Leicester ended up winning the game, whether it was 2-0, 2-1 or 3-1. And to a point, with the way the performances, they ended up winning it quite comfortably. When you've just got yourselves on track, and yes, half time 1-0 down would have been very harsh, but you was in a very commanding position that you would have known, the way you're playing, that if you can get it all clicking, which obviously they did, you can blow this side apart. Because there was a lot of periods in both halves where Spartak could not get near Leicester. Leicester had the freedom of the midfield at points with the way they were breaking through them, and it was such a stupid thing. Yes, I agree. Kasper shouldn't be passing it to someone who's got a red shirt right up his rear end. But Soyuncu should know that and go, instead of going, doing what he did, why isn't he going, what are you doing? And, boots it up the field. If it goes out for a throw-in at the half, then he can turn around to Schmeichel and
to play that way, aren't they? I think that
we
know Brendan's saying that. But, at the end of the day, like with the Maguire goal, when say the Maguire goal, the Maguire assist for a Leicester goal at the weekend, Schmeichel thinking, who the hell do I pass? Because I've got to be honest with you, at some points there wasn't a blue shirt without a red shirt on him, and he should at that point be allowed to kick it up as far as he can and get it away from our defence.
No, but see, that's the thing though. There's no issues with playing it out of the back, and obviously a lot of people and a lot of United fans to bring that into a comparison point. Let's face it, Maguire was a bit different. Vardy and Nacho must have been and Brendan Rodgers must have been rubbing their hands together when they realised that Maguire had been picked off the back of about 2 hours worth of training. He was picked off for the simple fact that he was leggy, he wasn't match ready. He was stupid to say to Ollie, I'm ready to go back in. Ollie was stupid enough to not stand up and say, no, I want you back and fit, but I want you 100%. I'm going to play Bailly. He was ready. It was two completely contrasting things. I've got no issues with teams playing it out the back because Leicester do that very well when they do it right. What I've got an issue with is if they play it out the back and someone's just going, not really, mate. Get rid of it. Yes, managers and teams do it these days, but I reckon if I'm in the dugout and I see that ball go to Soyuncu and I see him and I go, oh God, Soyuncu, get rid of it. I'm doing that as a manager in my head, even if I'm just stood there watching it like that. In my head, I'm going, boot it, get rid of it. That's a bad one. Start again. Just get rid of it. Sometimes when you try and play yourself out of trouble, you do what you do in this scenario. You play yourself into trouble. And like I said, to a point, we're very thankful that we got a goal immediately back because that doesn't just change our mentality; it changes how they approach the game.
Yes, yeah, because they go in having just conceded, and it's 2-0 is a lot better than 2-1. Second half, tale of two halves. This game. I mean, we came out. We looked up for it straight away as soon as we came out. And so we hadn't had a bad first half, in fairness, but it's. Well, and I know we said this with the Man United game, but these are the performances that we've come to expect from Leicester the last couple of seasons. Yeah,
it is, and I think Leicester were very, very good in what they did. They were fast from the off. They knew if they could get the ball up that end of the pitch, and even if it was just a chance. Or they got a corner in the first minute or two, it'd be a backs to the wall, and what played into their hands, and I'll go more on it in the segment later on when it comes to that side of things. But Leicester, what they did well, and obviously they got the best outcome by doing that, is they got themselves a goal, and that put the score level. And what that did is because of the mentality of being a bit nervy at 2-1, Leicester got the momentum. They've snatched it back. They're now level. They're going to come at us. I think Moscow's inexperience and naivety maybe got the better of them, and they made a tactical error because then what they tried to do is they tried to match Leicester's intensity with how high up the field their back line was, and that you couldn't give bloody Peter Crouch the space that Daka was afforded to run at the goal, let alone give someone with that blistering road runner pace and ability to stick the ball in the back of the net. You deserve to get punished. If Leicester defended like that and left players like that open, they deserve to get punished for it. And that was what was pleasing, is Leicester maybe sensed the nerves, and Brendan Rodgers sensed the nerves and went, keep going, do it a bit quicker, get that ball up to the front men quicker, and we will win this game. And in the end, despite that nervy last 4 or 5 minutes plus stoppage time, it was fairly comfortable in reality. The scoreline was flattering for them and doesn't reflect the fact that Leicester completely dominated that second half.
I think if it was any other team other than Leicester, because we know what Leicester are capable of in letting leads go, no, the other teams wouldn't have been panicking as much as we were. First substitution, Albrighton on for Piera.
Yeah, Piera was probably...
He was on a yellow, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, he was on a yellow, so it was always going to happen. The game was 4-2 at that point, so you knew there was going to be an onslaught from Moscow. Although there wasn't really much, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't as good as I thought they would be. I thought they'd up the tempo and suddenly find how to get the ball in and behind. So it made a bit of sense. And plus, if you was to say to me who really probably, I wouldn't say had a bad game, but stood out as didn't really have the greatest of games, I think Pereira was probably one player that maybe if you're saying they're 8s and 9s and 10s for their performances, he was probably a 6.5, 7, because even though it wasn't his worst game, you could see he was getting frustrated. The things he was trying weren't working all the time.
Yeah. Tillerman's coming off injured, possibly.
Again, I'm hoping not.
We're all hoping not.
Yeah, we're all sitting there going, please, after that performance, please do not be injured.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at Tillemans' past, when he plays a lot of games and it's like 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, especially when the European competition like this rolls around, a lot of Leicester fans have noticed that by about game 4 or 5, he's blowing smoke out of his arse, and 60 minutes he lasts and he comes off and he's not been effective. And I think Brendan saw him pick up a niggle, so maybe that just was sort of the time of them. But I think you could tell with how the change was that Brendan was like, right, let's not risk it anymore. Let's get him off now instead of in 5 minutes' time. And it gives him a chance. He got him 20 minutes on the bench. Hopefully, like I said, every Leicester fan's hoping it's not an injury from it. It's not done any damage because they got him off so quickly and it's just a niggle. I'm sure Brendan will be asked a question in his press conference if he hasn't already. But hopefully he'll
and Vestergaard coming on, basically, I think just pass a bit of time and give some players a rest, I think, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, again, the match situation at that point with about 7 minutes to go at that point when them subs came on. Luke Thomas has had a good game. I feel he was just starting to get picked off a bit on that side. So maybe Brendan thought, I'll go for a more defensive reassurance. And Bertrand didn't really fly forward like Thomas was doing. And the game didn't call for it at that point. No. It didn't even call for it in the end, really, because like I said, it was quite comfortable that Leicester saw out the last few minutes of the game. And again, Vestergaard was probably always going to come on for Evans because we have to manage these players, and Evans has just come back from an injury. It was a good 70 odd minutes for
I think I like to say sensible. Well, we're gonna have a look at some comments and we will be right back after this.
Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. Please press those buttons on YouTube for more Leicester City content.
Terry says here, I'm just going to run through the comments very quickly. Brad, Chris still holds the best joke award with his Evans injury entry. Remind me what that was, Terry, because I seriously can't remember it. All my jokes are so good, I can't remember. I can't remember them all. Ashimandan images. Not sure about that one. Let us know. Scott, Chris, as much as I hate international breaks, I think it's come at a great time for us. Praise if continues through 9-10 on Sunday would be lovely. Yes, it would. And it did. I mean, we don't know until these international breaks come through. We could have had 3 players come back with injury. Nacho nearly did. Thankfully, he didn't. Frustrated with having Bertrand and Vestergaard come on in the 80th minute, hoping Evans would be okay. I think purely it was just a case of tactical and giving players a rest. Ashmandan, he prefers a 4-3. He might be younger and not have a bad heart as I have. Can't wait to get Fofana back in the team, as I think Vestergaard will become 4th choice. And then he actually puts him down to 5th behind Amati. Soyuncu did really well initially. Then he didn't, apart from that one, and I could say I think Casper's maybe got to take a little bit as well. And Brendan's got to turn around and say to Gutham, beat it, but beat up the field if you need to. Andrew, good evening. So how the devil are you? What I want to know is how the hell did Albrighton walk off that pitch? Ref was shocking.
Yeah.
And we're going to come on. We'll come on to that in this when I finish the comments, actually, because I know I normally have my rant, but I believe Brad's going to have his rant in a minute. Thinker Marty played well. Yeah, I do. I think he did as well. Facebook user, not sure who you are, but hi back. Andy Mena agree. Very fortunate for Brighton not to get an injury, an horrendous tackle. Facebook user, Casper's got to sort his game out. Is it David? I can't see because I'm not on Facebook. Was it me at halftime? Brendan swapped to Marty for Soyuncu, as in swapping different side of Evans. Terry, has Casper packed in kicking the ball out of touch to their players? I don't know if he's packed it in. I just think he does the shorter passes to his defenders. Man, I think Moscow's fitness let them down. Fair point. Michael, hi. Well, that's David, not Michael. Because I always know it's David if it's Michael. Don't ask me why. Terry, hopefully Casper's old man has had a word with him about it. Andrew here, how much of a beast is Sumare? They said on the telly, box-to-box midfielder, you know.
Yeah, isn't he
really
joking?
is. Yeah. I've got a few injury scares. I thought Tillemans, Evans, lower back, Madison, cramp. Yeah, I mean, nothing too major, hopefully. Ant, good evening, Ant. And from another Leicester fan channel, we're going to be doing a bit of a collaboration with yourselves and Beyond the 90 coming up every month soon. So keep a lookout for that. He's Zambian now. Yeah, aren't we? Yeah, you were Algerian a few years ago, Ant. You know, you're not fickle, are you? I'm sorry, but Vestergaard is useless. His hip injury due to Ronaldo in his pocket hole game for Evans. Caught up with the comments, and yeah, I mean, they said on the commentary, because I was on BT, and I don't know what they said on radio on lcfc.com. The guy was lucky to be on. It went to VAR, and even they didn't think it was a red. They just thought it was a yellow.
I just don't know how, mate. I cannot for the life of me figure out how VAR does not send him off. I don't get it, right? You know, you probably heard this as a common joke, right? But can anybody tell me what brand of cereals the Russians have? Because that's where these corrupt officials get their pissing licenses from. I thought the English FAs were bad. This guy was more than a village idiot. He was the father of the village idiot.
Allegedly. Let's just say allegedly, please.
Yeah. So, all right. Sorry, Putin. Allegedly, not real. Didn't happen. Russia. Anyway, maybe he was a KGB agent. We don't know. We can't speak anything of it. We don't want things getting thrown at us as a channel or as a country. But by God, right? By God, I reckon a newborn child could have reffed that game better than him. Patson Daka should have had a penalty, arguably. The foul on Albrighton was ridiculous. Maybe, just maybe, that player's last name was Shearer. Anyone remember that? If you're too young, go and check out Shearer on Neil Lennon. Go and check that out. That, yeah, I'll let you do your research and that, then come back to me if you're too young. Those of you remember, you know what I want about with Shearer. Because how do you get away with that? I mean, maybe I am Jesus. Maybe I was praying so hard that Albrighton broke his leg that it healed it. Because how he's got it, I don't know what's miffed me more. How Albrighton was able to bloody well stand after that challenge, or how he hasn't been sent off. Now, I hope the FA, I hope UEFA or whatever company it is that's involved, I probably said FA and it's wrong, and UEFA, investigate that and give that player an 8-match ban, because that could have ended Albrighton's career. That was horrible. It was reckless, and sack the lot of them at VAR. If that's what you've got as your VAR standards, sack the fucking lot of them. That's a disgusting decision. And people are saying to me, some fans of other clubs are saying to me, mates of mine, saying, "Oh, but I bet you're not bothered because you won 4-3. Yes, I am, because we nearly saw one of our own have his playing career ended. Get on your bike. It doesn't matter. I don't care if we won 6-0 today. That's wrong. That shouldn't be allowed to stand. And that shouldn't be getting checked by VAR and them going, yellow's acceptable. No, it's not. If I did that in my job, right, to someone, right, and nobody really saw it, and they decided just to send me home, and then they watched the cameras and saw me leather 10 bells of shite out of my employee, they'd sack me and take me to court. Absolutely baffles me, mate. And there, I'm done. I've had a Brad rant. I'm done.
Is it safe to come out yet?
Yeah, I'm going to have a lie down and speak to my therapist.
I'm going to play this for you then. He said, maybe
Scrap
this.
it. Scrap VAR. Scrap it this weekend over the international break because it's worthless, pointless, a total waste of time.
He agrees with you.
It is with the people that run it. Clowns. I trust clowns. I'd rather have clowns from a circus than Charles. At least I'd have a brain cell.
Like I said, we need ex-players running it. I really do.
I think Putin was in charge of it, mate.
So you weren't really impressed with the officials. We can say that.
No,
sure enough.
The official was that bad. They made John Moss look like a good referee. And you know my opinion is John Moss. He always wants to centre attention on himself.
I did actually ask when I did the preview show with Dean last night, and I did actually ask maybe it's wrong that I see the referees from a certain country and think they're not going to be brilliant, but I don't know. Just Greek referees, everybody was Greek. In all fairness, the decisions were Greek to me as well. But there were the linesman, the VAR. Oh, and I did say to him, are they going to be tough enough? Because I thought it was going to be a sort of a really, really dirty game, and it wasn't that bad at the end of the day. And I thought he let the play go on sometimes rather than call it back in defence of him. But yeah, it wasn't that good. I'm going to ask you now, though. Warsaw are going to be playing Lazio tomorrow. No, they're not.
Napoli.
They're going to be playing Napoli. It's because they've got that stupid Legia. We've got that stupid bloody L as the badge, and I keep thinking Lazio. Plus, I'm probably drunk as well. Warsaw are going to be playing Napoli. This is how it looks at the moment. If I can find it, I will show it you. And as I often, that's not the best chat-up line I use, I've got to be honest with you, but, it's worked a couple of times. There we go. As things stand now, Legia Warsaw top with 6 points. Leicester played a game more, obviously, second with 4. Spartak Moscow down to third with 3. Napoli now at the bottom with 1. What would you prefer? A Warsaw win, a Napoli win, or a draw?
Honestly, I'd take a draw. I'd take a draw or a Napoli win in that situation. The Napoli win more because it really does bring the group alive. And we've still got 3. We've still got to play. These teams. These again, and we'll obviously be hoping to better our results in the other 2 games and hoping to match the result, the win that we got against Moscow. In terms of, you look at the Europa League going forward, if you win the game, you get a free pass, essentially. It's a bye. And if you come second, you go into they say it's like a playoff. It essentially is. I don't know why they're bothering calling it a round of 13. It's 32. It's a playoff. Yeah. I think in that situation, I think if Liga Warsaw win, and they deserve to win the group, because that's impressive to do that. But if they draw or lose to Napoli, I think overtaking them and getting ourselves in a position where maybe we're better off than Napoli is easy to do if they're only 2 to 3 points ahead of us. Because obviously, I think we play them next, don't we? Liga.
No, we play Moscow again next.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if Warsaw win, they'll obviously go up to 9 points and dominate the group, but it will keep Napoli down on 1 point. Obviously, if Napoli win, by, say, 2 or more goals, they go into second and we drop down into third. So it is all very tight. I must admit, personally, I'm thinking at this point, for me, possibly a Legia Warsaw win, just to keep Napoli down there. But, you know, you can only play with the cards you dealt, as they say, you know. But
you can. Yeah, you can. And obviously, you know, we'll play Moscow. They'll play each other again. So, you know, maybe the draw is a favourable result. They'll only be, you know, if they draw that game, you know, then potentially Leicester could go into the game going against Moscow, knowing a win could put them top, depending on how well Leicester do in that game. And then you kind of it just shows you how quickly it could turn around, because now we're talking about, well, if Warsaw draw with Napoli and then in the reverse fixture they lose to Napoli will you know, and Leicester win the next 2 games, and all of a sudden Leicester are top by 3 points playing Napoli, and Napoli are out of the thing altogether, or the third, so they're not going to get, you know, all the fighting for second place. All of a sudden Leicester are where they're expected to be going into that final game of the group stage. So obviously we've still got to do our job, but it'll be interesting to see the next.
Well, we've got Jesus in the chat. I'm talking to Jesus. We've now also got the creator coming in as well. So your dad's in, Brad. Sumari was immense this afternoon. He was indeed. B-Crom, good evening, sir. If indeed he and Kante had a child together, the baby would be Sumari. I think it'd be a bloody miracle as well, but yes, it could be. Andrew, the ref now has a Bentley, 2 Lamborghinis and a holiday home in the Maldives. I know they certainly got a couple of larders and a flat near Chernobyl, I'll tell you. And that's somewhere you don't want to go to there, because no, I won't do that joke. It's not past the watershed yet. Dorco, we need to come top of the group, coming second. Yeah, Brad alluded to that. Yeah, again, for God's sake, you know, we've got to play a team again that's going to be given a second chance because they were shit in the Champions League. You know,
which is true, but let's not forget that if they've done that badly to get third in their Champions League group, a lot of them teams that come third, if you look at the Champions League, and especially over the history, but Man United
got through to the final, nearly won it by being crap in the Champions League. They nearly won the Europa League. I'm sorry, it could happen to us. We could be third in this group and go down into the conference and win the conference. But it is totally wrong. If you're out of one competition, it's like saying you're out of the FA Cup. You get knocked out of the FA Cup, so I tell you what, we'll give you another chance in the League Cup. No, I'm sorry, it is wrong.
I'm not disagreeing with what I was saying is if you actually look at it, the majority of them teams that finish third, yes, you're going to get a group of death where a biggish name comes down from it. That's unavoidable. And I agree with you. It's not right that you get a second and a third and a fifth and a seventh or a 10th bite of the cherry in the cup. It's not right. But because it is, and we have to like it or lump it, that's the rules. Them the rules, as they say. There's also a chance that, you know, Leicester then maybe get a Sheriff or a Young Boys, and we show these other sides how to beat these teams, that maybe only get 2 or 3 points or 4 points in their thing. So it's not the be all and end all. It's more like
Sheriff did well against, but was it Barcelona? And Young Boys didn't do too badly against Man United. I get we've got to. There's nothing we can do, but hey, you know, I just don't agree with it. Chad says, I'm hearing some great things about Sumari's performance. Would love to hear you both go into more detail on that. We will be in a minute, because we will be going through the team. Do you think the officials could be a bit better with the Ranieri decision after releasing him and doing the unthinkable with us? I'm sure they're not thinking about that at all, Scott. Am I right in thinking if we win the group, Brendan automatically improves how far he's got in the European competition stage? Or did we make the last 16 last season?
No, we got knocked out in the round of 32 by Spartak. He's never got to the round of 16, has Brendan. That's with Liverpool, Celtic, and Leicester. He's never got to the round of 16 of any European competition.
And as Dorco said there, it's 2 extra games we do not need. Yes.
I understand that people want to. What I'm saying is, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not like all of a sudden we're going to get Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid chucked at us. You'd imagine that they'd get through their group. They're not the best at the moment, Barcelona. They're in a bit of dire straits, to be perfect. But my point still stands. Obviously, we want to win the group, but let's not get disheartened, because remember, before this competition started, we was drawn in the group where a lot of pundits, a lot of analysts of the game or whatever would have looked at Leicester and Napoli and gone, wow, we've got probably 2 of the top 5 favourites to potentially win the competition, let alone win the group. So at the end of the day, yes, it's 2 games we could do without, and it wouldn't be ideal, but because of the position we're in, and given the fact, I think we have to set that as the minimum, because then you're talking, oh well, we finished 3rd. I'd rather finish 2nd than 3rd. I'd rather. Of
course, because you could still stay in the Europa League.
Yes, because I'd rather not rely on us than having to win the conference if we don't quite make it up in the league. I'm sure we will very early into the league, and we're looking better for it. But I'd rather us have a chance of being in the Champions League on 2 fronts.
Yeah. Andy says here, Bradley has a number for anger management. I tell you what, he makes my rants seem like, just a little, excuse me, do you mind if I just say something against Brad? And any children watching, Brad used a naughty word in that rant, and he will be told off later, and he will be putting £5 in the swear box.
I need £5 first.
Don't we all? Look, mate, talking of money, there's a couple of things you can do. Not you, Brad, but if anybody's watching, if they want to donate, press the little $sign at the bottom, and you can just make a donation. It does help us keep the channel going and make sure that we can do stuff like this. Because it does cost money to do this sort of thing. Don't do it. It's not free of charge, although you can get versions of it that are. But for the decent bits like this, you do have to pay for it. So feel free to make a donation, or you could become a member. There's some options there. 3 options, starting from $1.99 a month, and you can donate to the channel. And there's a couple of extra things that you get by being a member, including discount on a possible range of Leicester Till I Die merchandise. Watch this space. Now then, I was going nearly broke into Postman Pat then. Watch this space. Right, let's I wasn't going to do this, but why not? Let's have a look. Should we rate the players?
Yeah, go on then.
No, we can do it, Chris. Why not? They didn't all play, so I've just got to find them. We'll start obviously with the captain, Mr. Schmeichel, and he's not going to get one. I've just put him there just for ease.
I'm going to give him a 6 for 2 reasons. A, I don't think he had a lot to do. B, he played his part of being at fault for both the goals. You
weren't happy with him on goal 1, were you?
No. I know it took a deflection and people will say it wrong-footed him, but A, you knew you was going to Russia, so why were you wearing your slippy skates? Because he fell over to not be able to stop it. B, yes, as a goalkeeper, you see a shot going a certain direction, you start to move early, but that shot wasn't exactly a rocket. It wasn't like the Warsaw shot, was it? It wasn't like that. It was. I had almost half looked away, expecting to see Kasper have it in his hands like that, and he was starting to attack. It was very sloppy from him, and he lost his footing. He slipped. It bundled into the net. Kind of reminded me of the error-prone Championship Schmeichel. The way it went in, it was a bit naff. And for me, as a goalkeeper who likes to be a part of the committee of goalkeepers' defences. I can't defend him for that.
I was going to say, I could listen to you and almost think that maybe you've been a goalkeeper at some point in your life. I just get that feeling.
I know, right? Sometimes I do hint at it. I don't like to say it all the time. But
Yeah,
no, I don't.
you do keep it to yourself.
I know, right? Don't like to broadcast it. And the second goal, I think he takes the blame for distributing it to the wrong player. Sanchez is under a bit of pressure. Yes, he had a good game against Manchester United, and he was having and did end up having a pretty good game all round this afternoon. But there was still that case of, Moscow would have known if any defender is susceptible in that lineup, it's Soyuncu still, because he's still capable of. He's still got to work through the mistakes he made. I mean,
And where would you put Amati? What would you give to Amati?
I'm going to give him a 7. I think he was probably solid. Sometimes he was probably doing a better job than Soyuncu and Vestergaard when he came on. Very happy to give him a 7.
And to be honest with you, I've got to say this. I'm not Amati's biggest fan. I like him as a utility player. He can play midfield or, across the back. But he's had a couple of games. He's had some, he's been solid. And I don't know who it was earlier said, probably Vestergaard's down to 5th behind him.
Yeah, it is. It just shows, it shows the way they're being, and I use the term again, man managed by Brendan and his staff, because it's very difficult to G yourself up. And I know people say, oh, you're on this much money, you should be able to do it. It's not always that case. If you're not getting selected every week and that's your job to play football, and that's what you're essentially being paid to do, it's not always the easiest to put in a performance. So to do what he's been doing for Leicester over the last 2 games, I was very impressed with him, and that's why I put him in the 7.
Okay. Good Evans, Mr. Evans. Where would you like Mr. Evans to go?
An 8. I think if he'd have played the 90 minutes, they don't score a third. There's nothing he can really do. He didn't really do much wrong. Again, you felt comfortable and more reassured, and they looked more reassured defending with Evans. Very glad to see him play. Glad to see him be rested. That tells me that Brendan, wants him for Sunday. Very good 70-odd minutes that he got out of him. Deserves his 8. Which is the best thing.
You shouldn't say that any team is reliant on one player. You know what I mean? Because but we've seen the difference he makes just by coming in. It would be that Brendan goes on and says about this, and that he might get targeted to be taken out the game because he is so influential in it. But he is that experienced head, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and it's not a case of maybe being reliant on him so much, because we're in form and in confidence. Soyuncu and I'm sure Vestergaard on his day and Amati are very capable defenders that have seen out a result for Leicester and doing a job for them. I think just sometimes, especially when it's going through a dogged period like Leicester have been, you need that experience, you need that commanding player, because you need to be able to command that situation in certain things, especially when you're being put under a lot of pressure. You need that experience and that footballing brain on the pitch. So yeah, that's why Evans goes so far above in my rating.
Lord Farquhar, our Turkish delight, and I'm dreading what you're going to give him after that mistake. But where are you going to put him? Let me go and hide under the table.
Honestly, mistake aside, I think considering where his head's probably been up his arse for the past few weeks before the international break, it was a bit error-strewn, but he had a fairly good game. He made a very good block, actually a very good clearance when one of the Moscow players controlled it 6 yards out. The only thing he was going to do there was smash it into into the net. So I'm gonna put him with a Marty. I'm gonna give him. No, and I can't really, because he was part of the error. No, go on. I'll give him a 7. I think he warrants a 7. He did make some vital interceptions, and he looked more composed.
He didn't have overall didn't have a bad game.
No.
Brookline, good evening, sir. Although again another American. It's never too late as long as you bring a note. It's never too late. He's saying he's been distracted by something called work. was able to watch most of the game. Well, hopefully you're as happy as we are, Brookline. Okay, so we go then to Mr. Piera.
I'm going to give him a 6, just because I think for all the right intensities, and he did a lot of running on that right side. He showed the right intent. Unfortunately, it was probably one of them games where it just didn't go right for him in a sense. He didn't go to plan how he was, and he seemed to get a bit frustrated. And in the end, probably because of his yellow card, he probably even came off the pitch earlier than expected. So yeah, I'm just going to give him a 6. I don't think that was his greatest game. He tried and tried, but it was just one of them for him, I think.
Yuri?
A 9. Absolute monster of a performance, and you'll probably find a consistent patterns with the 9s and 10s and that are coming for that. He was just phenomenal again, wasn't he?
He
picked passes. He broke up play. And you can't sing enough praises about him when he's playing like that. It's the easiest 9 you'll give for a while for Yuri.
Sumare. Whoa. Sorry,
yeah.
I was gone then. 10, did you say?
Absolute 10 out of 10. I mean, not just for the way he played alongside Yuri, his defensive work. I mean, at one point the commentator said you cannot get the ball off him. You just cannot get it off him, and you couldn't. We said it about everything that Iniacho touched against Manchester United. He seemed to do really well. He was unplayable, and Samari was great. And when Chowdhury, and I know we'll come on to him in a minute, when Chowdhury came on and they swapped the roles, he went to the defensive and he became more freedom to attack. God, did he do it good? I mean, that goal that he set up, he got the ball, he muscled them out of it, he ran up the pitch and he played the ball through, and then we scored again. Perfect 10. Looks right at home.
He's not although he plays, obviously, we're playing him because we've no Ndidi and we've no Mendy, and maybe, Samari's deemed to be a better starter than Chowdhury. He isn't the same sort. He's more of a box-to-box midfielder than Ndidi, but he does that job very well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And like I said, when the substitution was made and Chowdhury came on for Yuri Tillemans, you felt maybe they'd both play a bit more defensive, and Chowdhury seemed to do that defensive role, which freed up Samore to be more aggressive in his box-to-box approach, and he just never missed a beat. I don't think he lost the ball. I don't think there was ever a pass that's wrong. It was a perfect 10 out of 10.
Mr. Luke Thomas.
I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 7. He did all right. He had a very good game. He got forward. Still shows his defensive priorities when he's got to track back and Leicester lose the ball. But that comes with, I'm going to be a bit lenient on him because he's still, you'd still say he's very much in the deep end at Leicester with how quickly it's been sprung on him over the last season and a bit. For someone who's found himself out of the team recently as well, with Bertrand coming in and Castagne as well, it was an all right performance. It was one of them where he didn't really do too much, but he definitely did well. He tired at the end, and that's probably why Bertrand came on. So I'll give Luke Thomas a 7.
7. Okay. James Maddison. Now, he has, over the last 2 games, been a revelation. It's like, yes, we've got our Maddison back. This was the guy that Arsenal wanted. This is the player that they were after. But he's been given, and again, this is what I picked this up off the telly. He plays in a different role these last 2 games. He's given a bit more freedom to kind of go where he wants, and maybe that is the role that suits him better.
Maybe because maybe he was one of them players that teams and managers would start to figure out. He was very rigid. He stays there. If we can get 2 men on him and we're going to disrupt their flow, we're going to disrupt his game. And it obviously had that effect. So Brendan's obviously thought, well, if I give him a free roam, he will work better. And you're right, Chris, he has benefited Leicester dramatically. He's benefited Maddison a lot better. He's just done 2 back-to-back 90 minutes. Before Manchester United, we were struggling to even think how we're going to get him in the team with the way his form was and the way he was playing. So it's good to see the change. It's good to see it's been an instant reaction to Maddison. Me, I'm probably going to be his harshest critic because his side foot shots from 20 yards don't impress me. They annoy me. So I'm going to give him a 7. He would have been an 8. He would have been an 8, but I'm going to give him a 7 because, yes, he had a good game, but that's one part of his game he still hasn't eradicated. He sees the headlines, and there were so many times I was going, don't shoot, pass it. Don't shoot, pass it. And I go, oh, you stupid person. Because
let's say good evening to Amondi. Thanks for joining us again, Amondi, from the Man United Agenda. Great channel, go check it out. He came on the other night and took it on the chin. Although I do have to say now,
he was late, so he has to.
He was late, a bit like a Harry Maguire tackle. He was late getting to it. But the funny thing is, if you go back and watch that, Amondi, it's not as bad as it was because YouTube have actually cut out the first 20-odd minutes because they didn't like the video that I played of the goals. The Premier League claimed copyright on it, which in fairness it was. I couldn't deny it. So when I said to them, I said, just take it out. And I thought they were going to take the 2 separate clips out, but they didn't. They just took the whole section out between the 2 clips. So it does actually look like a Monday arrives on time because the show really starts when he gets there. So you get away with that, Monday. Scott here is he's obviously a Kardashian fan because he thinks that Samori is Kanye West number 2. Yeah, all right, mate. I bet you're a Love Island fan as well, aren't you, Scott? Hey, don't deny it. Don't deny it. Inacho, again, this guy, he had a brilliant game. I could have picked out for man of the match, and we're going to come on to that in a minute, a few, and he could have been one of them because not only, yes, he didn't score, but he had 2 assists and he was all over the place. And what I don't think people always appreciate with Inacho is the work he does, A, off the ball, and B, in the middle of moves as well.
Yeah, that is something that I was literally going to say that, Chris. I was going to say the thing that's the biggest improvement in Inacho, not just, over the last 6 months where he's added goals to his games, obviously on a lot more frequent basis. But it's his off the ball running. It's his willingness to hold the ball up. It's his clever running. Like we talked about that goal where, yes, he did run offside, but he kind of almost did it with a purpose to help his strike partner, Daka, be free if he was offside. When the ball was played by Maddison. There was probably a few tweaks of frailties with frustration with him. Sometimes the ball got stuck under his feet, but he was superb. His general all-round game was brilliant. I mean, he nearly got Daka a 5th, didn't he, with that cross? Yeah. I mean, he looks a completely different player. It's almost, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9. Oh. I'm saving another 10. I'll give you one. I'll give you 3 guesses.
You can give more. You're not limited to only giving so many 10s out.
No, but I don't want to take the shine away.
I'm sorry, Amondi, but against Man United, the guy that does my Brian, who does my match report, gave every single player a 10. So, but Amondi, apparently, yeah, you got in trouble for showing a goal as well. We're naughty, aren't we? Eh? You know, we should be sat at the back of the class of the YouTube lessons, you and me, Amondi. But thanks for your compliments there. Brookline says here, Nacho and Daka are more connected than Nacho and Vardy. Well, look, it's been one game. Let's see how these things progress, you know. Right, okay. Do you know what? I'm going to jump onto the subs first because I think that guy will deserve his own space at the end. And I'm going to go through this quick because I know I forgot you've still got a section to do on tonight's show, Brad. So let's run through these quickly. Albrighton.
I want to give him a 10 for being able to walk, but on an actual performance, I'm going to give him a 6. Instead, he did his job, came on, did a job, but for the fact that he's able to...
It's hard to give a substitute more than a 6, isn't it? You know, because of what they do. They're on for 10 minutes. Chowdhury, he was on for sort of 20.
I'm going to give him a 7. He made some vital tackles. He read the game well. He actually had a very good performance.
It's no wonder I'm as fat as I am. I'm eating that much humble pie this season because Chowdhury's playing well. Anderson's coming back. All these players that I said. Bertrand, I mean, these guys are only on 8 minutes, so it's hard to say. But Bertrand?
I'm going to give him a 6. Again, he came on, did his job, did what was required of him.
Yeah. Now, Brad, Scott says we should have a thing here, I think -10 for this next player. Or should I just leave him in the bottom bracket there for you? Mr. Vestergaard.
I mean, apart from the goal, I mean, is it... No, just give him a 6. I don't see all this, like, he wasn't that bad.
He wasn't, in fairness. I think, you know, we looking back on a certain Mr. Bennett, you remember Mr. Bennett?
Gordon.
Right,
Bennett,
yeah.
Was
he that bad? What did he do that was bad? You know,
Bennett or...
The fact of the matter was, we signed him on loan and we in the January window, he wasn't a regular at Wolves, so we signed on loan a reserve player almost from a team that was lower than us, and we didn't make any signings. So that pissed off a load of fans. Did he make any major mistakes that cost goals? Soyuncu got sent off against Bournemouth at the end of that season and probably cost us more than Bennett did. I don't get what Bennett did. That was all. When he came on, he did what was asked of him. And Vestergaard, we've got to give him a chance to settle into this team.
Yeah, and I think the problem is it's easier to point out a player for saying he's bad because he came on for Evans and lo and behold, Leicester conceded. And all of a sudden, because Soyuncu scores a goal against United and has a fairly solid one apart from his clearance, and you know, it's come after his and Schmeichel's combined mistakes for the goals, that all of a sudden, because he's not a Leicester player that's been around for a while and he's been in a side that's had a very bad to dodgy start, you know, because Evans wasn't there and he's got thrusted in. You know, let's not remember that Vestergaard probably would have still been brought to be a bench player had a certain Villarreal player forgot, you know, had remembered he was playing football or not karate on Fofana. You know, if Fofana's fit, people say, well, we wouldn't have got him if Fofana got injured. I still think we needed that backup player because I certainly don't trust Benkovic to do it.
No.
And
Vestergaard, you're quite right, is the fact that also you don't, you know, the defence hasn't been a settled defence. We haven't got our main, but even when you're taking out Fofana, the other players themselves have been injured or got COVID while they've been away on international duty. JB, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? Yuri, higher than Madison, ? I don't think so, should be equal. JB, it's opinions. It's all about opinions.
That's fair play, mate. Like I said, JB, I'm probably a harsher critique than most on it. I would have said it's the 8. The one thing that's always annoyed me about Madison is he scores one goal from 30 yards, and then for the next 6 months he tries to side foot everything into the top corner, and he got 3 or 4 chances, you might as well have just not bothered because they went over the bar. And that's why I dropped him down, because that's a part of his game that frustrates me.
JB, you're more than happy. Message us and come on, and if you want to be the guy that wants to come over, after every game and do this, I'm more than happy. It is all about opinions. We've all got different opinions, and we respect yours as much as you respect ours. Scott, I do think we need potentially a better defensive coach. Well, I just think we haven't got. I just don't think we've got the settled defense. I think once we get the settled defense with our best defenders back, it's different. Nacho and Daka, the New York and Cole. I think we've got to be careful here, Monday. I know where you're coming from with that. It's been one game. Let's just kind of reel ourselves in a little bit here, But certainly, knowing that Vardy, being 34, hasn't got as many years in him as Daka and Nacho, it's good to see that sort of performance today, thinking that's what we've got. That's what we've got coming. Brookline, not impressed with Bertrand or Vestergaard, and he would leave them as a 1. Bennett got slaughtered against Spurs. It's a 1 game. Soyuncu got slaughtered against Bournemouth, got sent off and ended up with his feet over his head in the net. So,
if I remember rightly, I think Luke Thomas got slaughtered in that game as well.
Yeah. Give Benkovic a chance. Yeah, maybe B. Crom. There's something that they're not happy there with between him and Rodgers. Scott, what amazes me, how does Vestergaard get in the team ahead of Benkovic? Premier League experience. What
amazing. Right, can we just press pause on this a second? Sorry, Chris, to interrupt you. What amazes me is people are coming out saying, give Benkovic a chance, give Benkovic a chance. He's been on loan to our sister club. Never did anything. He's been on loan to the Championship. Didn't do anything. Didn't put in any starlight performances. We never saw rave reviews. He's injury prone. And when he played in pre-season, he was very shaky, didn't get the ball away. Why are we suddenly taking a guy who's had a shaky start, albeit to his Leicester career, and suddenly writing him off? Let's not forget that he was part of a Premier League back four for many, many a season, right? Get off your high horses and suddenly thinking that players like Benkovic should be playing and Vestergaard's the worst defender ever. He's wearing a Leicester City shirt. He's a very good player. He was probably, like I said, he was brought in to be a rotation/backup player. I don't think there was any intention for Vestergaard to be brought in to be a starting 11. I think he was there for a niggly injury, rotations such as today, like we saw. Get off the guy's back, right? We see Soyuncu in bad form, and it's Soyuncu. I hope Brendan puts his arm around him. I know we go get behind him. He does this. Vestergaard, he might as well play for bloody Coventry. The way people are starting to go on, get back, leave him alone. Yes, he didn't have the greatest of starts, and yes, he may have not looked great out there for the 8 minutes that he was out there. But he ain't going to get any better if all he sees and reads is Leicester going, "You're shit, mate. You should have stayed at Southampton." Give it a rest, will you? If you tell me you want Benkovic in over an experienced Vestergaard, you know nothing about defending. And I'll say that to anybody that says I want Benkovic in over Vestergaard. Look at their track record and tell me which one's a better defender. Telling you now, I don't want Benkovic near our team because he can't get anywhere near our under-23s. He can't get near our sister club in Belgium. So don't come at me with saying I'd rather see Benkovic.
We do have a clip here of Brendan Rodgers giving a bit of a pep talk to Benkovic. So just quickly play this.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
But no, I do get totally what I mean. Brendan, I said this, and he was on the bench today, Benkovic, but Brendan had him for 2 whole seasons in the Scottish League when he was at Celtic. He won the treble with Celtic. He was that impressed with him. He took him back for another season, and yet as soon as Brendan comes down to the English Premier League, Benkovic doesn't get a look in. Now, to me, that's a good manager because he knows that the level of football in Scotland and I'm sorry if any Scots are watching here, but the level of football in Scotland is absolutely nowhere near the standard of football that is in the English Premier League. The players you get are either unknowns or or well knowns that are coming towards the end of the career. Ronaldo wouldn't have gone to Rangers or Celtic. They don't. So if you've got a manager like Brendan that's gone as much as he did in Scotland, and you could argue again, Rangers weren't there for most of it, etc. And then he comes down and he goes, yeah, I don't think you're going to fit into the Premier League. All power to him. All power to him. That's good management. Just because you're good in one league doesn't mean you're good in another league. And you've got to understand this. When we buy any player.com, we bought Daka. Now he was excellent in the Austrian league, but it's a gamble whether he's going to be any good in this league. Musa, and you could argue with Musa in fairness, he's probably a bad example because I like Musa and he wasn't played in position. So let's look at Slimani. Knocking the ball in for fun in Portugal's league. Came into us, and you could argue he didn't play to his strengths, whatever, but he got very, very few goals. So, like you said, Benkovic is there. I think Benkovic is going to be another Kaputska. Look at him as well. He was under player of the season in whatever those Euros were at the time. But no, I agree with you totally, Brad. Agree with you totally. We'll get onto this and then we will just move on here. Brookline says bring back Morgan and Fuchs. I think they have to have the Zimmer frames with them if they do. Vestergaard slander needs to stop. Give him time. Yeah, we've brought that up. JB, agree with you there. Vestergaard won't improve because his footwork is gone. It can't be fixed. And let's just remember, if you're saying, because we've been linked with this Lucio, whatever he is at Southampton, that if you're going to say we bought a player that was involved in a couple of 9-0s against them, yes, there were 10 other players, or 9 with the sending off, some of you. Yeah. So you can't. He's not playing in a settled back four, and he's not like he's coming in and slotting in. JB says, well done, Brad, well said. Terry, I can see a position for Benkovic behind the bar in the director's lounge. Scott, I expect your point in regards to Vestergaard. However, his performances since moving to us have been nothing short of poor. But let's say we hadn't got Vestergaard or brought Vestergaard in, we'd have struggled. Who would we have played in that position? Because I'll tell you something, when we brought Vestergaard in, nobody here that was licking a Marty's arse was licking his arse then, including me. Because we didn't. I can remember at the Charity Shield outside Wembley Stadium, they were announcing the teams, and literally when they announced that Marty was in that team, there was a collective groan from the Leicester fans. So don't tell me that, yes, we'd have had because the Marty then we didn't trust. The Marty now, being fickle football fans we are, we love and think he should be in.
Mendy.
Yeah. Bicrom here, Damari Gray wasn't good enough. Exactly, that's another one. JB, are you sure? Yeah, Vestergaard was brilliant. He was. And so was Amati. I say we've written Amati off. You've got to give these players time. I'd rather see Benkovic given more chances in games tonight than Vestergaard. As for me, Vestergaard is easily pushed off the ball. Scott, I respect your opinions. This is all about opinions. This is what the show is about. Show me, apart from Celtic, as Brad said, where the good performances are that Benkovic has put in. You're up against, Vestergaard is a tall player and he's got Premier League experience. And he hasn't been playing week in, week out with new teammates to get used to them. So, if you can come back to me and say, Benkovic was brilliant in this game for us, but you can't. And it's the same when he goes to lower league clubs. But there you are. Moving on from Vestergaard. We still had a case of Mr. Daka. So let's get Leicester again. Let's get on the upside because this guy this guy, I mean, Leicester fans were going, oh, a couple of weeks ago, they sound like they're going toilet then. They're going, oh, we should have got Edouard in. We should have got Look, he's just scored in his first game. We should have got Edouard in. Daka's not being picked. Why isn't Daka being picked? Because we've got Vardy. That's why Daka's not being picked. And Vardy is, let's not forget, top of the goal scoring, equal top of the Golden Boot at the moment. So, no, as I said in a message to you during the game, Brad, Edouard, who? I mean, do you want me to add another couple of layers on the top of that to take it up to 14, 15, even 20?
You could put it to whatever number you want, and as highest as you went, I'd put him straight in there. Anyone that watched the Crystal Palace preview will know. Yeah, he's going in the 10, by the way. Going in the 10.
I gathered that. Yes.
For anyone who watched my Crystal Palace preview, Chris does a segment on there normally with Craig. Unfortunately, Craig wasn't available for that time. Chris normally gets Craig to pick a ones to watch, don't you?
Yes.
Chris. And I picked Edouard, but I didn't pick him for the normal reasons that most people do. I said this is where you'll see why Leicester didn't pay 20 million for Edouard. And despite what happened in that game, Edouard went missing to the point that he got dragged off. I know he scored against Arsenal, but this season everybody's scoring against Arsenal apart from Brighton. So he's not showing it. And if anyone knows him, you probably might not know him, Chris, but if anyone watches the Irish guy, or HITC Sports is their channel, he's very controversial what he does.
He does those short 7 minutes shows, doesn't he? Yeah. I have to give up after 4 minutes because his accent grates on me. Sorry to any Irish watching.
But he did a segment, and I know it's all again opinions, and you're very bold and brave through these things because you're probably trying to pick ones that are going to cause conversation like you do playing devil's advocate. But he was doing players that were signed this summer, who one player from each team that will flop this summer, basically. He got Leicester, and he picked Patson Daka. And he did the comparisons to Slimani and Musa, like you did, saying that Leicester, he made the points that Leicester have done really good business with Kante's, Vardy's, etc. But he said out of all their signings, he did mention Vestergaard. I think I can't remember. Go and check it out. Not sponsoring the channel, not bigging it up or anything, but he's good for it. And he said Daka.
It's a good show. He does do some very good shows.
Yeah. So I might say to the Leicester fans, go over and find the HITC Sports, find the Irish guy, find that video, and just follow his channel saying, Daka with your 5 goals in 2 games, because he's one of them that's made it plus. And to get four goals in 1 game, I don't care who you're playing, I don't care what level it's at, to do that in 1 game was incredible. If I could give him 4 10s, I would, mate. 1 per goal. He was a class above, and
it's his face is infectious, isn't he? He looks so happy. I mean, all players are happy when you've scored a goal. Of course they are. But he's got that smile, and I mean, his first goal. Let's be honest with you, against Man United. He kind of stumbled it over the line, didn't he? But who cares? It went in the net, and that's all that matters, whether it goes in off your arse. But you need that sometimes. And that had that albatross off his back, if you like, of getting the first goal. When's he going to get his first goal? He's not got his first goal yet. Oh, he's got more than his first goal now.
And if you look at his performances when he's played, I know a lot of people saying he needs to get in and he should be in the starting lineup. Why did we pay this for that? And, typical fans of how we are and how quickly we question decisions made by people that have been doing a job for years and years and years. But the thing is as well, if you look back at his highlights over the season, I mean, the goal that was chalked off against Napoli, his initial shot led to the chance for Soyuncu against Manchester United. De Gea made a good save in that game. So it's not like this is just like one of them performances you go, oh, it's just a one-off. he's been showing this. And like you said, Chris, well, it was off his arse cheek. He actually did quite well, I think, to score that goal. Yes, it was 2 inches away from the line, but to keep his balance and steer it in and not put it wide, which players have done from that angle and that distance before. Let's remember that as well. You know, it has kicked on something, but you've already seen, you know, we got the sneak preview of his chances. So to see a performance of that level from him, you know, we say Vardy doesn't get many touches of the ball in the attacking sense, but when he does, you're always expecting the goal. You got that from, you know, you got that from him today. I don't remember him having too many clear-cut chances, probably maybe 6. He scored 4 of them, you know, and one was a volley on the stretch from a natural cross. So, you know, how can you not give it a 10?
No, I totally agree with you. And we've got a goal machine. You know, he likes to party. He likes a bit of Charlie and a bit of vodka. But for years we didn't have that, and then suddenly we've got Vardy, who, like I say, you know, he's going to be up there. If he's not winning the Golden Boot, he's certainly second or third. He's always in the top 3. You've then got this guy coming through, and it looks like he's going to be another one that's just going to score for fun.
Yeah. Well, they're like buses, aren't they? You could say. Leicester. We've got one in service that comes around every hour, and now all of a sudden we've got 3 running the same cycle, and they're doing great things every time they're on the pitch. So it's very nice. But if I wouldn't say we've had a 3-way striker partnership since the days of the likes of Claridge, Marshall, Heskey, and Cotty. You know, when we had them as a front 3 in the Premier League rotating in. So it's very good.
I would say that was 4 then, not 3. But I know what No, I'm being facetious.
You are. You're being, well, facetious is a clean word for saying for it.
Yes, Christopher's being facetious. Now then, if we think that has White says he reckons a 3-4-1-2 with Vardy and Daka up front and Nacho as Cam is a good formation. Probably you've got a point there. This, if that's caused controversy, then I'm pretty sure this is, because I think, you know, when we look at our man of the match and our ratings, that you probably maybe don't agree. I'm not sure I agree with them, but we're going to look at that. We have got coming up tomorrow. You're back with us again. It's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow night. You see, might as well just move in with me, Brad.
I know, for what it's worth, mate.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are doing, because we do a prediction show every week. It's a bit of like what I like to call, this is our poo in the swimming pool show, if you like, because it's a bit of a floater. And it can go round. Terry, you never told me what my Evans injury joke was. Please, if you're still watching, Terry, tell me. I want to know which one you thought was so good. I'll write it down and use it again. But we do every week have the prediction show, and you're doing rather better in that than you are in the actual prediction league, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, see, that's my big brain thinking. Everybody gets to see this one live, like I did long ball one away, and
you're not, because I'm going to start cutting it out for
every
and I want to see how we did last week. Actually, let me just pull it up. As the actress, blah blah blah. Right, week number 8. You were on 34. I am on 31. So you're still 3 points ahead of us, and the guest is 30. But the guest tomorrow night is going to be great. We've got a Newcastle fan coming on. What timing for that? So
right.
Yeah.
May I just say my big brain shout about Norwich? I was very close on that. You see, you gave all me that you. I want someone to go back and clip it for me and remember the stick that I was given, and I want it clipped, Chris, because Doug said I was bonkers if I thought Norwich were going to get anything from that game.
Well, I was going to say, you actually went. You actually didn't get it right because you went for a win.
No, I didn't get it right.
Was that right or was that wrong?
No, but did anyone...
Was that right or was that wrong?
In what?
Well, you went for a win.
I did, but how much slating did I get for
win? They did not win.
But did Palace win either?
No, I don't know because they played Brighton.
No, Palace played Arsenal and drew 2-2, mate.
Oh, you're talking about a different game. Sorry. They very nearly won, in fairness.
Yeah, but very nearly. Norwich very nearly won. So don't try and see I'll turn this on you. They didn't win.
No, and I picked Palace to win, but...
And they bottled it against Arsenal. They bottled it.
Yeah, but that's right. Let's just get this right. I've not come on and said like, oh, I've not been going mad about my Palace prediction. You're going mad about your Norwich prediction because you picked to win and you lost.
But you all went.
This is you. I have got this perfect clip to sum you up here, Mr. Perkis.
I remember what I want to remember.
You do. You remember what you want
the fact that I was the only one that actually backed Norwich to do something. You two went against it, but there we are.
But you backed them wrong because you backed them to. It's like saying, "Well, I backed the second horse in a race. It didn't win it. It came second."
No, I was more going on the pot. Forget it. Don't matter.
Scott, thanks very much for popping in, mate. Take care. Have a good rest of the week. B-Com, thank you so much, mate. Best show on YouTube. We will definitely clip that. We'll definitely clip that and use it. B-Com, thank you very much. And Terry is still here. It was the one about announcing Evans. Oh, yeah. Yes. I think I phoned Dean because I said, the breaking news, as it's just been announced that Evans is injured and won't be able to play on Wednesday because he's hurt his hip because he's had Ronaldo in his pocket for 90 minutes. Thank you, Terry.
Right. I'm with
Thank
you,
you, Terry. Thank you. I shall live on that joke for a long time now. I'll clip this bit as well. So what we were talking about something before Norwich, weren't we?
I forgot now.
Who are still, let's be honest with you, are still going to go down. You're not going to deny that, are you?
Oh no, and they're still worse than Derby County. But
yeah,
considering all the boldest predictions, I was gutted that they didn't get the win. I really wanted to be more smug than that, but I was it was more the fact that Doug said I was bonkers for even suggesting.
I think I probably said worse, didn't I? I think
you played the matching though. You played the match.
You cannot be serious, DVD.
Yes, you did.
Didn't
I? But Doug gets it in trouble. I want someone to clip what Doug said because he said I was bonkers for even suggesting that they'd get anything from the game, and I was right. They did get something from the game. They were still chicken enough not to win it. But
I shouldn't joke too much because you were still 3 points ahead of me.
Well, there you go then.
I will give you that, sir. I will give you that. You are top of the league, but in the long ball league, which is the online league that we do, you're not bottom anymore. You are no longer Norwich. You are now Newcastle because you won off the bottom.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I reckon someone's hearing that you copy my own work and they go and copy my long score predictions, forgetting that I was bottom. I
think they probably just forgot to do this week's score, so you went above.
So that PayPal must have cleared before this week. Then
I think I'm back up to third. I'm not sure with that one. So yeah, we're swapping it.
You're
down.
in the top 5. I know that much, mate. You're actually doing really well because I know we tend to differ them. I think what I might start doing, in fact, I might do a little bit of a line next. I might keep going against my predictions in the long ball so I can win this one and see how long it goes for. Because if I start matching them, I'll start losing.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know about you. I don't match. What I do in the prediction show, which is 7:00 tomorrow, by the way. Me, Brad, and John, a Newcastle fan, who must be doubly happy now because, of course, Bruce is gone. I don't do exactly the same as I do in the prediction show. But anyway, Alan Bennett is the guy talking the predictions. He actually comes on straight after the show. He doesn't have time to think about it or sit down. If he's at the game, it's literally when he's walking out the stadium. He picks as man of the match, and he rates the team's performance, and he rates the manager's performance. Brad has gone missing. I think he's not going to. Are you there, Brad? Come in, Brad.
I'm just stretching out. My legs started to cramp up.
Okay. I thought you were hiding from this. So he's basically gone. He did say he was very close to giving it to Samari, but how do you not give? I mean, Jamie Vardy has got so many man of the matches because he scored the winning 1 goal. So how do you not give the man of the match to the person that scored 4? You've got to give it to him, haven't you? He's given the team 7, and he's given the manager 8. I probably, and I have a lot of time for Alan. He's not a young chap. He knows his football. He was there on Yeovil on that wet Tuesday night, as a lot of fans like to say. So he does know his stuff. I probably would have gone higher on both of those, but I agree with the Daka.
Oh yeah, and I think managers gets an 8 or a 9. I think the players, you probably could bump up to an 8, but they did also concede 3 goals.
Yes, I think that's what probably brought it down for him.
Yeah,
because this is the oh god, that was a bit. This is the team as a whole. Don't go to the toilet while you're there, Terry. I used to go skydiving, and my instructor had irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah, you're quite right. I was shat on from a great height. No. All right. That was a bad joke. It was just my toilet.
You've used your Evans joke up, and that's taking it all out now, isn't it?
It has, isn't it? I'll just leave. I'll quit while I'm ahead now. But yeah, I suppose I might have gone like say it's 8s and 9s, 7 and 8s. It's there or thereabouts, isn't it? I think Brendan picked the right team. I think we were all wondering what he was going to do because we all wanted the same team that had played against Man United, and apart from a couple of injuries or a couple of changes, one of which was forced upon him, as you said, because of Castagna, and one of which was an inspired substitution because it brings on the guy that gets 4 goals. I think he's done very, very well. As Brendan, and credit where, because we say we're very, very quick to criticise him, and even his substitutions. I've got to be honest with you. Even his substitutions, you've got to look at that and go, yeah, I get why you took those players off. Piero on the yellow possibly wasn't having his best game. Tillemans looked like he just hurt himself, and at that point, you're ahead, so why risk him? And he's just giving players a run out at the end. We won't start on Bertrand, and certainly we won't start on Vestergaard again. But overall, it puts us back in it, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does. And obviously, depending on tomorrow's results, we'll see just how close we are into it. It's the right result, like we've discussed, opens that group right up for all 4 teams. So it's a good one to be having.
I mean, let's just have a last quick look at the table. Because as we were saying before, I think if Napoli win tomorrow, that is going to put the cattle on the pigeons, because you're gonna have a 6, a 4, a 4, and a 3, and it's going to be really, really tight. And I think this is probably why I'm erring towards wanting Warsaw to win, although I don't think they will. It gives them 9, so it does put them clear. But let's be honest with you, we probably thought Napoli would be clear at this point. But it also means that probably to qualify, and stay in the Europa League, Napoli have got to win their last 3 games. Anything less than that, because, you know, Leicester, we're hopefully, touch wood, going to win one of the next 3 games. Moscow will, you know, probably win, or you know, we'll both get some points. So if Napoli lose against Warsaw, almost certainly they have got to win the next 3 games that they play. So that's a hell of a lot of pressure. And if they only get a draw on one of those, so I'm edging towards preferring a Warsaw win. I'm not going to lie, and I forgot what I was going to say now. That's gone. The moment's gone. I was thinking then. The moment has gone. But it is going to be an exciting group. We have been going on quite a while, and I do apologise because you do have your segment in this show now when we do it for the Premier League of your Brad's tactical appraisal. Did you still want to do that for this game?
I can do a quick one. Yeah, my phone's running a bit low, but I could do a quick tactical.
Oh, no, if you prefer not to, it's fine. We've nearly been 2 hours now, so
I could do a quick few minutes on it if you want to, just to end it out. It's totally up to you, mate.
There we go. Then we're going to have a look. It's Brad's tactical appraisal. And I'm laughing now because he is absolutely panicking behind trying to get his camera in position. And that is my fault because I'd forgotten all about it. But Brad's tactical appraisal, tell us about the game, Brad. Over to you. This is our version of Sky Sports Monday Night Football. The difference is we talk about Leicester.
Yeah, and I'm better than Jamie Carragher at it. But anyway, so obviously I've got the lineup here as a formation. I do apologise if it's not completely in view for you. And for our podcast listeners, if you've been brave enough to listen to us for nearly 2 hours, I'll be as descriptive as I can so you can understand what's going on. Obviously, Leicester started out with the 5-3-2, and that really didn't change too much throughout the game. You know, the subs were pretty much like for like in terms of that. And it was very positive. It was very, very much Manchester United-esque. Again, Ricardo was seen coming up and supporting on down on the width to give Leicester that width when they were going forward in the midfield. And they continued to do what they were used to doing, which was playing a higher line in the defence. So when Leicester did manage to get the ball and were pressing into the final third with the players, and Leicester were about here in that sense, the back 3 then sort of sat just shy of what I would call, if I can keep my board steady, apparently doesn't want to be, the halfway line. That's sort of where they pushed up. And unfortunately, the only concerns for criticism where Moscow's chances came from and where they ever caused Leicester any criticism was just in that process stage. So when Samore and Yuri Tillemans and Madison were in this section, and maybe not so much Daka and Inacho, they actually seemed to hold a higher forward line. But when the wingers had committed and the midfield was still reorganising itself, and they were sort of bunched up in and around that halfway line, the defence seemed to not really know: do I push up? Do I go into our position on the halfway line, or do I sit back and do I cover just in case there's a mistake? And when Evans was on there, it was obviously more noticeable who was in command, and we got away with it a lot better with that commanding head. You know, being in the middle of both, being in the pivot of both Sayuncu and Amati, was able to command it more. But at some times, you probably found that Leicester were a little bit exposed. And if Leicester lost the ball early and in these sort of areas, when the defence was in that motion, that's when really, and it didn't happen a lot, obviously, in this game, and that comes down to, you know, them being very fatigued from a draining performance in their derby, or just the lack of quality they've got in their squad, with the greatest respect to them. But that's when I found that Leicester were leaving the gaps, and obviously it's easy to expose then. And in the end, Leicester will rely on maybe more times than not either Sayuncu or Amati not reading the danger, and then somebody like Evans was thankfully there to make a tackle to put it out for a throw-in. And one thing that did happen that represented the performances from Luke Thomas and Ricardo. We talked about them individually. You know, Ricardo was a bit more of a lackadaisical performance. He didn't quite get everything right that he was doing. It didn't seem to work what he was trying, which he was doing in the Manchester United game, which was getting forward, getting to the byline, cutting in to become another option. And Luke Thomas was there as just isolated as an option to spread the play. And if it was needed, he could then send it back so Leicester could recycle. The problem what I found is when it was in the transition stage, and like I said, the midfield was sort of still in that halfway to just entering their half segment, and these guys weren't in the final third. They weren't in and around the box when they were still in process. I think at times what didn't help is, and maybe it was for Luke Thomas, it was an experience, maybe it's how they're being told to do it. I think at some points, though, when the left and right wing backs got too ahead of the game, they were preempting what was the case. They were preempting, three midfielders to be joining. They were preempting a back three behind them, which was the case when it worked. And they weren't really reading the game. Instead of holding their horses a little bit and staying in line with that midfield whilst it processed into a full-on attack and they entered Moscow's final third, that didn't help the defensive. For all the criticism that Vestergaard, Soyuncu and Amati has taken over the last couple of weeks by some fans, it's not helped with a situation when you're playing a very central-minded three, and you're because you've got to remember, as a three, their job is to take that area of the pitch, so they don't have to worry about these areas. That's for the wing backs and the covering midfielders to deal with, and they're only to do that as a push-out job when it's near the corner section or out for throwing. That really is supposed to be the responsibility of the wing backs, and I think sometimes they caught themselves short, and it left Evans, Soyuncu and Amati in that area with two responsibilities: to either track the run or to watch the wide man. And unfortunately, that causes the defensive frailties that saw on numerous occasions Moscow getting behind the back line. And thankfully, with the brain of Evans and his defensive minded duties and Soyuncu's recovery rate and Amati's recovery rate, more times than not, when they did get him behind, the chance itself was cleared. But if Leicester are to rule that out, they just need to tweak the sensibility and movement of their wingers, the wing backs. And if they do that, they will cut out conceding 5 goals in 2 games. Because as good as it is to see Leicester score 8 goals in 2 games, they've only gained 3 goals from it. If that was a league game, they'd have only gained 3 goals from it because they conceded 5. And that's how Moscow, when they created chances, the limited chances that they were allowed to create, were clinical with them. And that, Chris, is basically my tactical assumption on Leicester's performance.
You've just made me realise, just looking at your board there, that I've got to warm some spaghetti bolognese up for tea tonight.
I know. I do like my lines, mate. I do like my lines.
No, brilliant, mate. So much better than Carragher and Neville. Tell you, thank you very much, mates. You speak a lot of wise words. Fancy a quiz?
Possibly. I do like a cheeky quiz.
No, well, we have got a new quiz coming up. I don't know if anybody is a Netflix fan at all, but coming up real soon, we are having a new quiz. It's going to Leicester Till I Die. We're going to be running a pilot to see how it goes, so keep your eyes out for that. Are you ready? Because what I'm going to do now, Brad, I'm going to show you a clip I'm not going to show you a clip because I'd get YouTube telling me off again. So I'm going to show you a picture, and I want you to tell me the link between that and Leicester City.
Couldn't tell you.
Anybody in the in the audience? I think I'm on QI now. Anybody in the chat? Tell me what the link is between that and Leicester City. Well, let me just tell you. Have a think about it. This week, say we've got a lot more shows coming up. We have got tomorrow night, like I say, myself, Brad again. Can't go a day without seeing each other, or we do get withdrawal symptoms. We are doing the prediction show at 8:30. Pop on over to Devils United TV, which is it's Maisie's channel, who was in earlier. And I've got to be honest with you, you're going to love it because you love it. I love it if I get on that channel. Now we are looking back at Leicester City 4, Manchester United 2. I know it's been a few days. It's the only time we could fit each other in, but isn't it going to be good that we can talk about it again? Oh, yes. So that's 8:30 on Thursday, straight after the prediction show on my channel. And that's on Devils United. Make a note of it. And then on Friday, 7 o'clock is the Brentford preview with Craig. We'll be looking ahead to the preview in the Brentford game on Sunday. And at 9 o'clock, I'm not sure what the channel is. I will obviously put it on Twitter and Facebook if it ever starts working again. I'm talking with a Man United and a Newcastle fan about the takeover, and I'm sure the sacking of Steve Bruce will come up there as well. If you are looking on Facebook and you're thinking I'm being horrible, it's not that I'm ignoring I think this is something like 24, 25 posts that need to be authorized or declined, depending what they are. But there is a problem with Facebook at the moment that in certain groups, admins are not being allowed to actually go in and do anything with it. The Bronze Plumber. Hello, sir. Finally. Not seen you for ages. How the devil are you? Been off for a leak? Plumber, leak. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, right. Okay. Did I tell you about Johnny Evans? You know how he nearly injured? Right, well, here's the answers. There's a few of you've got it. Bronzy, you didn't quite. I think you knew what you were saying, even though you were being a little bit clever. The Zambian with the golden boot. I love that, and I wish it was, and I wish I'd thought of that as a second one, but I didn't, and it wasn't that film. Brookline got it right first. From Russia with Love, of course it is, and of course.
Oh God! You know what, mate? I was going to say it's got to be Is it something to do with James Bond? I'm going to cause a lot of hate. I hate them movies. I can't stand James Bond, so I don't really know the title. So
you're going to get a lot of hate from me now because I absolutely love them. And Terry Fuller, well done, Terry. You got it as well from Russia with Love. Of course it is. What else could we end on tonight other than that, of course? Sean, what can I say? You're the best James Bond. Although Daniel Craig wasn't too bad either. Bradley, thank you very much, sir. And great with the tactical discussion at the end. It's been a long one for us, but then again, we're talking about a Leicester win, so it's got to be good. We can talk about Leicester wins until the cows come home. Talking about that, I wonder when the missus is due. Hey, bum bum. I say that in complete confidence that she's not coming here anywhere near because we don't live together anymore. And that's probably why we actually get on now more than we did when we were married. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Brad, thank you very much, young man.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Sorry, my phone percentage went too dark and I had to turn my camera off to save it for a couple hours.
That is fine. That is fine. Thanks for doing that tonight. Mate. Great show. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Love your tactics, and I will. That sounds rather rude, doesn't it? Hey,
I know, right?
Get your tactics out here, Brad, for the ladies. I tell you. That's
Maisie's not here anymore, so I can't get my tactics out for him, can I? correct anyway, but it's on here.
Be careful where we go with that one. But yes,
will.
that's your new catchline, catchphrase, I should say. Right, mate. I'll see you tomorrow at 7:00. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, mate. All the best.
Thanks a lot. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Was a bit of a long one. Again, as the Archbishop said to the actress. I can indeed, Brad. Yes, I can indeed. That's it. Back to winning ways. Like I said right at the get-go, we have had worse weeks. See you tomorrow. Please join us 7:00 on my channel for the Prediction League. Let's see if I can catch Brad up, shall we? I think we need to. Take care. Thanks a lot, and thanks to Brad as always.
That's all, folks.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.